Well, I'd like to start with you, Mr. Oluwadare. The Abacha loot has dragged on for years with billions recovered. But Nigerians are asking, where is this money going to? I'm aware that SERAP even got a court order for the federal government to explain how about $5 billion was spent. Has the government responded at all, or are we still being kept in the dark?
Thank you very much. The federal government is yet to obey that judgment. So we do not know how much we have in terms of exact figure by the federal government and how those funds have been spent. And it's interesting to know that that suit need not be a suit as it were.
Okay.
We simply sent a freedom of information request to the government, asking these questions like every citizen would want to know in the interest of transparency and accountability. And it was unfortunate that he had to drag on for 2 to 3 years as a public interest lawsuit. And up till now, even though the court had given judgment, Nigerians are yet to know in clear details how much has been recovered, how they've been spent, and the beneficiaries of those funds. So the basis of the knowledge that Nigerians have, unless of course there are people who have special knowledge, is the one that is reported in the media in some of the tranches as being returned by different governments. But even the various returns, like the one returned by the US since some years ago in 2 tranches, I believe, we do not know exactly how they've been spent, which again raises the question that perhaps it has not returned the funds going back to private pockets.
Okay. Let me stay with you. But there's been some explanations in the circle of government that some of these monies will have been invested into some capital projects to build roads, social investment programs, and all that. Is it because you didn't have that response to the Freedom of Information request you sent, that you're saying that you don't really know or you don't have a full detail of what is being spent for? I need that clarity, please.
Thank you very much. So we need to unpack the pronoun you. So in this instance, will be either SERAP or Nigerians, and rather stick to you being Nigerians. The Freedom of Information Act mandates public institutions to proactively disclose information, make it available, website, through various means to make this information available. Which means SERAP need not send a Freedom of Information request if that information is already in the public domain. And after we sent the request, we did not get the responses. And that is why I said clearly, the information that I have, and which I believe most members of the public have, unless of course those who may have special knowledge, are the various reportage of the tranches when they are returned. Maybe perhaps the US government says it's returning $500 million or so from New Jersey and the likes. We hear about that in the media. But that is not enough. We need to know how those funds have been spent. And it's not enough to say they've been invested in this and that. To know clearly how much was received, where and how it was invested and spent, and the beneficiaries. If it was used to construct roads, where is the road? How long, how many kilometers was the road? Who got the contract? And so, and we don't even need to send a Freedom of Information request to have access to that kind of information. Every Nigerian who are victims of that theft has the right to know. And that is what the Freedom of Information says. And that is what is good practice to strengthen transparency and accountability. Which is why, again, the aim is to ensure that these monies do not find their way into private pockets. Right. In the absence of accountability as to how these funds have been spent, we do not know. It might have been omitted. We do not know. And that is why we have gone to court to enforce that right, which again we do not know. But it will be interesting if you have the facts of the specifics of how those funds have been spent. I'll be willing to hear it, really.